So we're moving on to border 7, and this one's a bit different to the other ones, and we're using the first ever square that we made, which is the Mickey square. Now mine is really tiny, so I know that I need a large border on this one. So again, I will show you, if you're just doing the same stitches all the way around, I will show you those first, and then I'll go back and I'll redo it with you if you want a larger stitch. So this one has told us a particular place to join the yarn. They've said to join it to the top right of the Mickey motif square into your first stitch, because there's no kind of corner stitching on this one. So if I've gone into that top right stitch there and I've joined my yarn already, I'm now going to put my hook in and pull up a loop, and then they've asked us to chain 2. So 1 and 2. We're then doing 1/2 treble into the same stitch. So yarn over and into that stitch, yarn over again and pull through all 3 for your 1/2 treble. We're then skipping the next stitch and doing 2 1/2 trebles into the next stitch 10 times. So we're skipping this stitch here, and then we're going into this one instead, which is just here, and we're doing it 2 1/2 trebles into that one, and we need to do it 10 times. So there's my number 1, then skipping the next stitch and going into this one, and there's 2, skip this stitch into the next one, three, skip the next one, 4, skip your next stitch, 5, skip your next stitch, 6, skip your next stitch, 7, skip your next stitch, 8, skip your next stitch, 9, skip your next stitch, 10. We then need to skip our next stitch again and then do 3 1/2 trebles into the last stitch. So there's 1, 2 and 3. So we're moving on to the left edge, and again I've just found another error because it tells us to skip too many rows so we don't end up with enough stitches. So I'm going to show you what I've done instead. We need to skip 1 row instead of 2, which is fairly easy to do, but I will email Hachette to explain what error I found in the pattern again. So we're sticking with our 1/2 treble stitches, but first of all, as we're at the corner, we need to chain 2. And then the first thing we need to do is to just get in our heads how different it looks on the side, because we've got no normal stitches there to chain into, and instead it's telling us to go into the row. So you just need to work out in your head what the row means, and if you turn it this way you can see it a lot clearer. So what they mean by a row is this here in between my 2 thumbs. The next row down would be here, 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 so they all look like this. When I turn them sideways, we can work out what the end of a row is because you can see this here. We're not going in, can you see there's like 2 flat lines in between each row? So you've got them there, you've got them there, there and there, we're not going into those. Those don't count as a row. We're going into the more raised bumps, which is this one here, this one here, this one here, this one here. Can you tell which I mean? So when we go into them, if you pull them apart slightly, you can see a gap in there. So I would go in through here to go into that row. To the next row here, I would go in through there. So that's what it means by going into the row, and that's where I will be going into. So we've chained 2 at our corner, and then we need to do 2 half trebles at the end of our first row. So we've already done stitches onto the end of the top row. We now want to go down one, and we want to go into that gap at the end there into our next row. So into that one, we're going to do 2 half trebles. So there's 1 and 2. We then need to skip a row, which is this one. We're not going into that row, we're going into the next one, which is here. And we're doing 3 half trebles into that one. So 1, 2, and 3. 2 half trebles again into the end of the next row. So 1 and 2. We're then skipping a row, so we're not going into this one, we're going into this one, and we're doing 3 half trebles again. So 1, 2, and 3. 2 into the end of your next row. 1 and 2. Skipping the next one into the end of the next row. We're doing 3 half trebles. 1, 2. Oh, the stitch is really small. I can't get my hook back through. There we go. And 3. 2 half trebles into the end of the next row. So 1 and 2. Skip your next one, 3 half trebles into here. 1, 2, and 3. 2 trebles, half trebles into your next. 1 and 2. And then we're skipping this row, which is this one just here, and then we're going in to our corner space here and doing 3 half trebles. 1, 2, and 3. We're then chaining 2. 1, 2. After our 2 chains, we're going to do 2 half trebles into our next stitch, and this one will be just like the top edge. So we're now going to skip the next stitch, which you can see is the hole there, and we're going into the next one just here, and we're going to do that 10 times and 2 half trebles into each. So there's 1, and then skip the next stitch. 2, skip the next stitch. 3, skip your next stitch. 4, skip your next stitch. 5, skip your next stitch. 6, skip your next stitch. 7, skip your next stitch, 8, skip your next stitch, 9, skip your next stitch, 10. So we're now at our corner and we need to do 3 half trebles into this space. So 1, 2 and 3. So we're now going to repeat what we did on the last side. So chain 2, and then at the end of the first row we are doing 2 half trebles, one and 2. We're then skipping a row and doing 3 half trebles into the next row. So it's 1, 2 and 3. 2 into the next, 1 and 2, skipping 1 and then 3 into the one after. 1, 2 and 3. 2 into the next, 1 and 2, skipping 1 and then 3, 1, 2 and 3, 2 into the next, 1 and 2, skipping 1 and then 3, 1, 2 and 3, 2 into the next, 1 and 2, skipping 1, and then we should be back at our final corner to do 3 into this one. 1, 2 and 3, and now we can chain 2 and join with a slip stitch to those first 2 chains that we did. And there, I can flatten it out a bit, is your Mickey square complete with your border. Now that I've completed this one and I've measured it up against the other squares, I'm now completely happy that it's a fairly decent size compared to other ones. For example, let me get one that I did a shorter border on because I thought it was a large square, so I'd class this as a large square, and if I put my Mickey up against it now, it's pretty much the same size. So I'm going to stick with that for this square. I'm not going to undo these, and doing it with a different size, the half trebles, has worked out nicely. So I will leave it at that for this square, and I will see you for border 8.